Our guest today is none other than Australia's most beloved musical treasure, Marcia Hines. With a career spanning 5 decades, has released 22 albums selling 2.6 million copies, and has garnered countless chart-topping singles and multi-platinum records. Marcia is an inspiration to women and Australians everywhere, constantly reinventing herself and settling industry benchmarks. Moving from Boston, Massachusetts to Sydney just at age 16 to star in the Australian production of Hair, being the first black woman to star in Jesus Christ Superstar and advocating ceaselessly for diabetes. Marcia was an Australian Idol favourite judge from the show's 7 consecutive years and inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame in 2007. She received the Order of Australia in 2009 for her services to the Australian entertainment industry as a performer, judge and mentor, and to the community through a range of charitable organisations. Please welcome Marcia Hines. You been well?
I have been. I've been actually enjoying it.
Oh, good.
I'm good. What's
Staying at
that
home,
mean?
Watching movies?
No, sort of just hanging with. Look, in my industry, you don't get a social life much.
Yeah.
Because if you do, you see somebody in a lounge or catching a plane, and you give them a kiss and tell them you really miss them and dig them, and then get on the plane,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
on to the next one. So.
Wow. But you haven't been travelling much now, though, right? No.
Like everybody, nothing. Zilch.
You know what? One thing I've heard about this whole lockdown is that people have been taking up lots of really crazy stuff, right? Like people, some of the breeders are like, we don't have, all the puppies are being bought.
Yes,
so
I
people
know.
are buying pets.
We bought one. Yeah, we've got one coming.
There you go.
Mm.
What did you get?
A cavoodle.
Oh, they're so cute.
Yeah.
They don't molt.
No, I know.
Unlike my dogs, they're just like...
Your dogs are crazy. You have got 2 now and one. Just
Two.
one. You had one.
We had one, and then we adopted her brother.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And they
so-
play because that dog needed somebody to play with
she's
24/7.
nuts,
She's
man.
great now. She'd be great.
Yeah.
She'd be playing with her brother.
Yeah, yeah.
See, you did the right thing, man.
But cavoodles are great. They're super intelligent.
They are.
And also
Really great with kids too.
Yeah.
Brilliant with children.
don't
Yeah.
molt.
No.
That's the
You like
best.
that? Don't molt.
Our house is like,
That's the selling point, is it?
honestly, if you were wearing socks at our place and you just walk down the hallway, you lift up your socks, it's like white
White.
fur.
Is it that much? Is it?
That's so much.
Yeah. That's one of the bummers about having
Yeah.
animals. If you're allergic, if you're not allergic, doesn't matter. Just get the vacuum cleaner out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're not allergic. I'm allergic to cats, which is not.
Well, I've got a cat you're not supposed to be allergic to. I had 2, a Devon Rex. You know
Oh.
that? Looks like Yoda.
Yeah.
And now I've got a Russian blue.
Oh, they're so cute.
She's beautiful.
That's the original cheeseburger cat.
That's right. How do you know that?
I grew up on the internet.
Oh, did you?
But no, it's super funny, people have been buying instruments because they want to
Everything,
learn.
bits and pieces. It is a time where you've got time. How often do you have time? I was sitting in a park just when COVID started, and I was just observing life as it is, and I sent it into my site. The Sass, she organizes my electronic media,
Mm.
and my observations were, people have got the time to walk their dogs and enjoy it,
Yeah.
and consequently, the dogs enjoy it. Children are playing in the old-fashioned way like they used to,
Yeah.
on bikes, and not in front of a computer.
Mm.
And people are catching up with people.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to be alive. It's different. I was just talking to a friend, as I said, who's a drummer, and I just said, it's just a very different time in life,
Mm.
but it's not bad. It's just you just have to sort of adjust.
Yeah.
That's how you get through life, I suppose.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But the divorce rate's gone up.
In China too.
Yeah, in
After the
China.
COVID. Yeah, I heard that, man. Yeah, well, look, I think sometimes with a lot of people, excluding you and I, of course,
Uh-huh.
I think with a lot of people go, I got to go to work. See ya.
Yeah. I'm out.
I'm out. Gotta go. Pack that suitcase, or
Yeah.
get to the office. And then when you don't have that escape and you don't like your partner, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you have to spend a whole day with them.
Ooh,
Oh,
imagine that.
I know.
Yeah, if you don't dig them. So that's why
Yeah.
you should, your partner should be your friend.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's a really good it's a really good way of looking at it, because not a lot of people once you get into a relationship and when you have kids, it becomes like
Groundhog
almost,
Day.
yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
routine, and you
Yep.
don't talk about much
Yep.
anymore, and you
Yep.
really got to make an effort in
You
that
do.
sense.
You do. But I
Mm.
mean, that's even with, a platonic friendship,
Totally.
You've got to sort of pick up that phone when they don't and blah, blah. You know what I mean? You just have to
Yeah.
put that. And the biggest thing, Jack, is to learn to shut up.
And it's so funny. It's so true too,
I
because
know, man. And I'll
Oh.
turn my back going,
Yeah.
But you got to learn to shut up.
just it's so funny in a relationship. You just want to, no, this is my way. No.
Yeah. You want to win. It's about winning, man.
No, yeah, it's definitely not healthy when that happens.
It is what it is,
Yeah.
because people cohabitate together and they're two totally different
Yeah.
upbringings, two totally different mindsets.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So what do? You sort of try and compromise, I suppose.
And it would be super boring to date someone exactly like yourself. Oh my God, that would be the worst.
Or you say to someone, what do you want to eat? No, what do you want to eat? No, don't do that. No. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure, Jack.
It's really our pleasure to have you, and really love to share some of the stories that you went through to get to where you are today.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to talk to you about some parts of your life, especially we can start with your childhood and where you were born and where you grew up.
Okay, so starting now.
Yeah, let's start.
Cool.
So, not many people know this, but Colin Powell and Grace Jones are your cousins.
Yeah, that's true.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know how that happened, man, but
Yeah.
it did. And I'm Jamaican origin, so are they.
Yeah.
So to start the story, my mother migrated to America from Jamaica before I was born, and then and she met my dad, and so who was another West Indian. So I'm of West Indian heritage, which is great.
You grew up with cricket.
Yes, I did. And I semi-appreciate cricket.
Yeah.
It takes ages, But I remember Viv Richards and all those people. My mother used to sit me in front of the TV and say, Viv, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it was a great heritage to have. It is a great. And so I grew up in America as in a Black American area, and I was Jamaican, and I was very different.
Yeah.
The way we ate, the way we spoke, our manners were very different to African Americans.
Yeah. So you had your own little community of...
Yeah, my house, my brother, myself, and my mother. And some friends we had in New York, and we had some friends in Boston. But it's a very strong heritage we have.
Yeah. Do you remember much about growing up during that time?
Yes, I remember everything. I remember, very strong church foundations as a Black kid, So I used to go to church. My godmother, who was the lead singer in the church, in the choir, she was blind and she was Jamaican. And so children weren't allowed in the choir box, but because she was blind, I was allowed to lead her in and sit quietly. Yeah. And so that's where I learned a lot of my chops. So, watching people sing in church. Yeah, man.
So she was really the person responsible for
very
your,
much
for
so.
your music.
Very, very. And I used to hang with her from about 5, and I'd spend New Year's Eve with her and would watch Times Square explode with all the fireworks and stuff. And I'd always do that from about 5 until I got too cool for school for about 11. Yeah. 11, 12, and then,
Wow, what an amazing time, because, that would have shaped, what did they say? That give me a child at 7 and bring them back a man at 12? Or?
That's right.
Yeah, so that would have been, your super formative years.
They were. And she was an incredible piano player too. No, I don't play. Right. But she was an amazing piano player. And so, she'd just sit at the piano and sing and play and, in awe. Little kid would be in awe of all that. I did learn to play chopsticks.
Don't we all?
Yeah, dig it. That's about my musical prowess. And I had a brother who was 18 months older, and he studied at Berkeley. Wow. So he studied, and he was a fine musician. Yeah. But in bands around Boston.
Sure. That was also a really interesting time, because you would have grown up watching, Martin Luther King.
You bet. I remember the day that Kennedy died.
Yeah.
And all the mothers were outside. The teachers were behaving very strangely.
Yeah.
And they said, school is dismissed. like about 11:30 in the morning.
Hooray!
We thought, no, something's wrong.
All right.
Oh yeah. Oh no, hooray! And then we walked outside, and all of our
Right.
mothers were in their house coats. And they said, my mother said, Dwight and Marcia, we have to go home. They've shot the president. And
Oh, wow.
He's not dead yet. He wasn't dead then. And he's a New Englander like me. He was. And so we were very interested, and he was very for the Black community, you know. And then, you know, as you said, Martin Luther King got shot, and so did Robert Kennedy got shot too. So I'm pretty sure it was Robert. So, you know, it was a very tumultuous time to grow up, you know, and to see the changes that were coming, you know. And consequently, because of that, there was a thing during the Civil Rights Movement, there was a thing called being bussed out. If you're a Black kid and you showed promise, they would bus you out to another area.
Yeah, right.
And I went to a place called Hamilton, and I'd stay with the family for 5 days and then go back to Boston and then go back on the very end of the weekend.
Oh, wow.
So that was good. And my brother was bussed out too to Wellesley. So
Sure.
interesting.
Yeah. Totally
and I was the
interesting.
only Black kid in the school, which was
Yeah.
it was very interesting. Yeah. All good.
Yeah, yeah. You know, the Vietnam War was still on at the
You
time.
bet. I had friends who went and didn't come home. You know, and all the stories that you hear, you know, the stories were just ridiculous. And then some of the funny stories where people would say that they were what they know, what they would lie about who they were and what they were really, their sexual preferences, and they wouldn't be allowed into the Vietnam, into the war. So, but you know, look, and then I got here, and the same thing applied. You know, I got here in '70, and the Vietnam War was still very, very healthy. And we'd all the American kids would all find Americans to hang with, soldiers, and talk to them, and they'd just tell us terrible stories about staying motionless in the carcass of a cow for a couple of days. So they, you know, it was real and especially the play that I came to do was a protest play. Hair, you know, that's why it was a protest for the Vietnam War. So, you know, I was very, very instrumental in trying to do what we could to make it stop.
That's incredible. I mean, I just can't imagine, you know, a time when I was growing up to go through, you know, the Martin Luther King speech, the Kennedy assassination, the Vietnam War.
And the Wallace attempted assassination. They didn't get him, but they shot him, and I think he became paralyzed. But yeah, it was pretty crazy. But you know, Jack, it's all relative.
Yeah.
If that's all you know, you have people who grew up during the Depression and the bombing of London and all that stuff. It's what you know, and you adapt. That's what I'm saying to you about this COVID thing. You have to adapt. And nobody's bombing us. Hooray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally,
Hooray.
right?
Hooray. And we're in the best country in the world. Hooray.
Yeah. It's so good to have, you know, a different perspective on things, especially when, you know, we have a difficult time compared to normal that we have now, because for people of my generation, we don't really know what's tough
you don't.
times.
But it's okay that you don't. You know, it's not really, you don't have to. Do you get me?
Sure.
Like what I grew up with, that was my bit of history that I had to deal with. And what you're dealing with now, and your baby, and she knows no different, but I'm sure that the kids, there's a vibe.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's a vibe.
So you, you know, when you were growing up there, you won a scholarship to...
I did.
To go to...
The New England Conservatory of Music for opera. And, you know, I mean, and the family that I stayed with, they were called the Andersons, that I stayed with in Hamilton. They got me the scholarship because one of their daughters was a very gifted pianist. And the mother said, because I was always singing around the house, and so she said, I'm going to see if I can get you a scholarship. And I sang for the powers that be, and I got a scholarship in music. And I went for about 4 months, man. But I just saw what they were trying to do to me, and they were just trying to take anything funky out of me. And, you know, and I was more into Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, you know, Sly and the Family Stone, music like that, not opera. But I did get chops. I did get some chops. I learned some great technique from it.
Yeah. I always say, you know, the things that you learn the most out of are things that you don't like.
Don't you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's great. So, you know, you spoke about hair. Obviously, you got scouted. And,
yeah, that was great.
Yeah, tell me about
you
that.
Know about it? Okay. I was 16,
Mm.
and a friend of mine who was a Shakespearean actor, he'd
Mhm.
always go for auditions all the time. He went for an audition for Hair.
Yeah.
And another friend of mine, Donna Summer's sister, Linda, had done an audition in Boston at the Mayflower Theater and said, "Oh, come and do Hair." Come. I said, "Nah, man, because if I do it, I'll just be stuck in Boston. I don't want to be stuck here forever." How I knew that, I don't know, right? And
Yeah.
so my Shakespearean actor friend went for an audition. They said, "You are brilliant, but you're too good. We want a rough diamond." He said, "You know, I know a girl, but she's underage, and but I have to speak to her mom." And so he went and spoke to my mom, and my mother said to me, "What do you think? You know,
Yeah.
what do I think?" I said, "Oh, look, I'll give it a try. I'd love to do it." She
Mm.
said, "But it's not in Boston." I said, "I know, because I'm not going to do it in Boston. I don't want
Yeah.
to do that." She said, "It's in Australia." To be honest, I thought it was Austria. But anyway, I know better now, right? Yeah, and so I went into audition, and my girlfriend who was in here, Linda, that I
Mm.
spoke of, she and about three of the other kids in the show hid behind a curtain and pulled faces at me while I was doing the audition, which is very uncool. But anyway, I got through, and then they said about 9 days later, because they'd auditioned quite a few other people in other states in
Yep.
America, Sandra McKenzie and Jim Sharman. And 9 days later, they said, we're looking at other people. And I had to wait for 9 days. And then before I knew it, like 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Austria. Crazy, huh?
Oh, wow.
But you know, you're bulletproof,
Yeah.
man. When you're a teenager, hey, what can't I do?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I had no idea. I just knew I had a gig, and I'd worked before.
Mm.
So I was aware you have to be responsible when you work.
Yeah.
So, and I've always been brought up with a very good work ethic. So, you know, great. What an adventure, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did your mother teach you the work ethic?
Yes, she did. And all the people around me, I had really good people around me, like my godmother, who I spoke
Yeah.
of, my mom, you know, and her aunties and her sisters and things. Yeah. Because my aunt, one of my aunts was the minister of education in Jamaica in Kingston.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, we had good study ethics at least. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was it difficult for your mother to let you go at 16?
No, because it was my passion. Do you know what I mean? And I think if I probably stayed in Boston, I would have gotten into some serious trouble. You know,
Mm.
because the cool kids are the trouble kids. You know what I mean?
Always.
Yeah, you know. And so I was hanging with some really good kids and some really bad kids, you know. And the good kids was Linda
Yeah.
Gaines, you
Yeah.
know, and yeah, they were great. And I always found, and I'd buy a record, and just stay home and listen to it and listen to it. And my friends would say, "Come on, let's go out for on a Friday." So I'm listening to this record. "You were listening to it last week." I said, "Yeah, but I'm still listening to it." So I was totally into music, you know. So and I
Yeah.
think when you've got some sort of a hobby, like kids who dance and kids who do gymnastics or music, keeps you out of a lot of trouble, I reckon, Jack, like a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Especially when in those teenage years, you're just looking for fun and
Oh,
you game and, you know, you do dumb stuff.
totally.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure we all did dumb stuff. And you know what? The best thing is when I grew up and when you grew up, there was no social media to keep a record of all that.
I feel sorry for the kids because I think a lot of that social media is hyping yourself up to be more than you really are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and nobody can look. I'm not happy 24/7
Mm.
or 7 days a week. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not. But I'm not down. But you know, you're not really allowed to have those emotions. Everything has to be
Yeah.
up. You know, and you have to have the best clothes and you have to have the best
Yeah.
boyfriend. Who cares? At the
Yeah.
end of the day, guys, when you grow up, you'll soon work out. When you're 16, the friends that you have when you're 40 and 50 won't be anywhere to be seen.
Yeah. That's so
You
true.
grow out of your friends, you know, you do.
Yeah.
And the good ones stick. You know, I've still got great friends from here, and I'm very close to Linda in Boston. But you know, that's so few compared to the plethora of friends.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah. No, that's so true.
yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, when you came to Australia, it was 9 days after the audition.
Mhm.
Um, were you more obviously you were super excited to come to Australia.
Mhm.
Were you nervous at all?
No, no, I'm not a nervous person.
Uh,
I am, and I think that might be the Jamaican thing. You know, we're really chilled and laid back, yeah. But I wasn't nervous. I just didn't quite know what to think. And then, because I was the youngest person to ever do hair,
yeah.
you know, some of the kids weren't impressed. And then I had one mother say, what sort of mother have you got that allow you to come to Australia? I said, one that trusts me. There you go.
Yeah.
Slap you. Yeah. Yeah. And my mother said, you know what to do. You know what not to do. You know,
Yeah.
go and make a career for yourself if that's what you, and she wasn't a stage mom either. You know, she didn't push.
Yeah.
She just saw that was my passion. Yeah.
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 And she encouraged it.
She sure did. Yeah.
And hair almost didn't go, didn't get off the ground. I think I read Harry Miller had to, put on a censored version just for the censors, and then
yeah, you
did a
betcha.
switcheroo.
I mean, because we were all butt naked on stage, you know. and it's so funny you say that now, and butt naked would be like full frontal lights. But when we stood up, we came from under a beautiful silk parachute with the most dim lighting you can imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't, full frontal.
Like headlights.
No way.
Yeah.
It was very, very tastefully done. And you'd hear people go, oh, yeah. That was really great, gasping in the audience. But yeah.
And, of course, everyone knows this story. You came here and you found out you were pregnant.
I did. Once again, I was taught you have to deal with what you do, you have to own.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had no idea it was my first sexual experience too, which is really a drag.
Yeah.
Okay. I must say, anybody listening up there. And I do not condone teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
Because the thing about being a mom, you become responsible. You can't be a kid and have a kid.
No.
And especially in my circumstances, because I was away from home, so it made it doubly hard, but I was getting an amazing wage.
Yeah.
And I mean, all the kids who were the imports from America, we were being paid really well. So we had great accommodation. I had a nanny in the end and blah, blah. But, I performed tonight and went into hospital tonight and had dinner tonight. It's something to be said about being really fit. And I was on stage every night. So.
And also you were, fairly young. So you could just.
Could do that.
That's
and just
crazy.
bounce back, Yeah.
That's
and
incredible.
my gynecologist came to see the show.
Yeah.
And told me what I should do and what I shouldn't do. So
on the night?
No. During the show.
Yeah.
When he realized I was pregnant, well, I went to see a gynecologist. Of course, I was pregnant. So I went to see a gynecologist, and I said, there are a few dance steps and things that happen in the show. Can you come and see what I should and shouldn't do? And only a couple things he said not to do.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But a lot of the girls were pregnant in the show. So I had a good support system.
Okay.
Harry wasn't impressed.
Yeah.
All these women popping out babies. But
Sure.
So, and that made a really good support system. And so getting a nanny was straight ahead, So a nanny would take care of Denny. And then a lot of the babies were taken to the hospital too.
Yeah.
Sorry, from the hospital to the theater.
Sure.
Were taken to the theater.
That must have been a surreal experience for you.
Having a baby?
Well, no, just finding out that you were pregnant.
I thought I was fat. And I was really I don't mean to be rude, I was really flat-chested and really underdeveloped. So to start getting boobs, I thought, oh, look, you're turning into a woman. No, you're turning into a mother.
Yeah. Wow.
So, yeah.
Did that, were you shocked or were you like?
Oh, was I shocked? I sent some pictures home to my mom. She said, yeah, I've been waiting for you to tell me. She knew I was pregnant, but mothers know everything.
Yeah.
All seeing, all knowing, all hearing, But did it shock me? No, it didn't shock me because I thought, well, you have to deal with your circumstances or you have to deal with your consequences. And that was what I had to deal with. And it wasn't like I'm thinking, oh, I'm poverty stricken. I don't have money to pay for my accommodation or the baby and new baby clothes. That was great.
Yeah.
And the support system, Jack, with the kids in hair too. They were great.
Yeah. I guess other people who are also pregnant and having kids supported you through that, and that made it a lot easier.
A lot easier.
Because
well, pregnancy is not easy.
No.
But I was really fit. I didn't pop until about 5.5, 6 months. So that's when I realized I was pregnant.
Yeah. I mean, I was shitting myself when I learnt about to become a father.
Did it freak you out? Well, see, that's what men do.
We
know.
Sure.
Women know stuff. Men don't know much. Love you guys, but you don't know much.
Yeah.
So, when I say, because your body starts to change and all that sort of stuff. So you become a bit more, you deal with what's going on where a guy goes, oh, what? Why is she so moody? Ooh. I always say to people, be careful of pregnant women because see,
Yeah.
they get really, you know what they get like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But you're a guy, so you would have freaked out. I get that.
Yeah, I guess, you know, things were going through my mind with things like, you know, am I going to do the right thing for the child? And, you know, am I going to be a
Well,
good
good,
father?
good.
Yeah,
Nice to hear.
totally.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine you doing that, or me doing that at, you know,
At 16,
16.
you weren't me at 16, though.
Sure.
See, I mean, I got on a
Yeah.
plane and came thousands of miles and
Mm,
came and said, yeah, I can do this gig, hoping I could, man. You know, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, sure.
yeah.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great. You know, it's great
You
to
were
hear.
out there being Buck Wild at 16. I know it. Yeah.
I did a lot of dumb stuff when I was
No, you
16.
did.
That's for sure. But
Oh, so did I. So did I.
yeah.
Hmm.
No. It's just yeah, it's just crazy to, you know, think about it like that.
I'd say what it does do, it makes you grow up, though,
Yeah.
and responsible. And I'd been the babysitter in Boston
Mm,
for some time, about 13, 14. So I understood babies and, you know, and I love babies.
yeah.
They're the best. They
Yeah,
smell
yeah.
good.
They do.
They do, yeah.
And then of course you, after you finished Hair, you were the first black woman to play in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That was amazing because I saw Jesus Christ Superstar. Where did I see it? I think I saw it in Melbourne at the Palais. Was it
Mm,
there? Wherever it was. So, and I was still in here. And I called Harry and I said, look, this play is incredible. If I can just do chorus, I'd
mm,
be very happy. He said, no, you're one of the only originals left in Hair.
yeah.
And it's best that you stay with Hair. And then the war ended.
Mm,
So Hair was no longer relevant,
sure.
right? And so I got a call from Harry and he said, would you like to do Mary Magdalene? And I said,
Mm,
let me think. Yeah. Yeah. I would really dig.
yeah.
Great gig, man. What a gig.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's another show that didn't start off you know, smoothly because people were picketing.
Very upset about it. And then when they got a
Yeah.
black Mary, they
Yeah.
got even uglier. But, you know, that's what Harry was very clever at controversy. And controversy is a great way of advertising.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
just sticking me in the show was a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. Oh, who was the band that NWA. They got, you know, their album got slapped with the parental advisory thing and then it just went through the roof.
Yeah. Dig it.
Yeah.
And then when Black Eyed Peas did Let's Get Retarded in Here,
Yeah.
and then they changed the lyric, that song was huge for them, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So from retarded to Let's Get Started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
Controversy is great, Jack.
no.
Good controversy.
Yeah.
People say, oh, all publicity is good. Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm. No, it's not.
Yeah. That was a very different era as well, you know, because Australia was, in your words, a year of white pub rock,
Yeah, man. It was.
right?
Yeah.
And here you are, a black teenager storming the entertainment industry
Yeah.
and playing Black Mary.
Yeah.
And so that would have been a culture shock for you too when you first got here, no?
Oh, no, I went to all white school,
Yeah.
you know, and Boston is relatively white,
Sure.
you know, and so, yeah, relatively, it was, no longer is. But
Mm.
yeah, so when I grew up, it was relatively white. But it's all good, you know, I was always taught never to look at people of their skin color or who they are,
Yeah.
just the person. Just look at the person, because we had so much turbulence
Mm.
when the Civil Rights War happened with the Black Panthers and all that sort
Yeah.
of stuff. And, you know, the guys wearing afros and fists in the air. My mother said, none of that in this house. One man killed Martin Luther King, one man,
Mm.
okay? It wasn't the whole race of white people, it was one man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had really good perimeters of what was real and what wasn't in our
Mm.
household. And if you didn't listen, you knew about it, okay? She was very strict. My mother was incredibly strict.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good way of looking
You.
at things because,
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
we tend to get carried away, right?
Sure. And then you have the what's that? The something of the mob, you know, the
Mob and-
mentality.
yeah.
Nah, always a bad thing.
Mm.
Yeah, I think I went to one march once just before I left Boston, and it was just so heavy, you know, and you could just feel it sort of swelling and going the wrong way, and my
Yeah.
brother and I just split.
Yeah. So you were brought up very differently to a lot of people, I guess,
Hmm.
because your mother was just such a strong figure in your
Hmm.
life, right?
Yeah, but in Black culture, you better obey your mother and father, because otherwise,
You knew about
the
it.
sentence is death. Oh man, they don't play.
Yeah.
They don't play. Oh no. And there's that look, you get that look, it's a whoa, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's nowhere to go. Where you going?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're under their roof. But I think that's a good thing, Jack. I think,
Yeah.
children should have barriers and should know.
Mm.
My mother would take us to people's houses, and before we would in, she'd say, don't touch anything.
Mm.
Guess what? We never touched a thing.
Yeah.
You just, you don't, if anybody's going to embarrass the hell out of you, it's your kids, man.
Yeah.
More than any other person, or maybe your parents, but your kids can really embarrass you into,
Yeah.
if they're badly behaved. And
Yeah. I mean, that's a direct reflection on,
the parent,
like
like an animal.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, it's funny because I was brought up by my grandparents for such a long time, and they're old school too. So you did something wrong,
You
and
knew.
it's like something's flying at your in your way. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I knew what a beating was. So sure did. Yeah.
yeah. And so after Superstar, Jesus Christ Superstar, the 70s really became your decade.
Yeah, crazy times. Because like when you're in a play, you don't pay much attention to what's going on, because it becomes like you're in a vortex.
Yeah,
It's a vortex, and it just sweeps you away.
Yeah.
And then people will mention music to me from about 70 to about the late 70s, and I don't know it because I was in theater.
yeah.
And then I got very hip to what was going on. And, when you record, you get to know everybody. And,
Mm.
Yeah, it was very interesting time, Jack.
Yeah. I mean, in that time, you were named Queen of Pop for 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And you became the first person to, first female artist to get a platinum record, right?
Yeah.
That
Cool.
must have been super
Yeah,
cool.
but all those accolades are fantastic. And for anyone to say they don't mean anything, that's because they've never gotten one.
Mm.
Okay. And when your peers or the general public embrace you, you are just so knocked out, but you don't sort of, it's weird. People say, oh, the success must be incredible. When you're on the road and working as hard as we did, and we worked hard, those were the days you could travel on the road for a good 8 months of the year and just be on the road,
Yeah.
6 to 8 months. That's a lot of travel.
And how many shows in that time would you play every week?
About 7 to 9.
Wow. So
I tell you,
minimum one a week. Oh, one a day,
yeah,
right?
one a day.
Wow.
And then, maybe a travel day to rest, and then on you get. So we'd start in Sydney and go all the way up to Cairns. And there's a lot of towns in between.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's a large part of our success with my manager, Peter. We went to areas a lot of people wouldn't bother going to. And so we were bringing this incredible magic show to areas that never, and great musicians, great costumes, great, great ideas, artistic ideas. And I think that's important. I've always thought that the people in the outer areas outside the city always appreciate your stuff so much more than people in the city who get, oh, your ho-hum next, oh, ho-hum. Yeah?
Yeah.
But people in the country areas don't get to see much at all.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it must have seemed like a bit of a blur during that, the
A lot of it
70s,
was, but a
70s.
great blur. You need to know it was a very happy time.
Yeah.
And we had very good people on the road. We had a very good team. I think we had 17 crew and band at one point. That's crazy. And it is a family, Jack. You got to all get along.
Yeah.
And one bad apple can spoil. And we did have to, dismiss a couple people here and there because they weren't team players. And the thing about being on the road, your family, you have to sort of, yeah.
Have to get along.
You betcha. You bet.
I mean, there's obviously arguments and disagreements.
Not
here
many.
and there.
No, it's because all musicians do is that the most important thing in their life is to try and crack you up. Okay. Laughter is the best medicine in the world.
Yeah.
So no arguments, because we weren't a band per se, like Cream or, like a band. We were a touring band. So it was great stuff.
And in that time, your daughter was in Jamaica with your
No,
mother?
no, she was here.
She came back by then?
Yeah, she'd
By
come
then?
back. She only stayed in Boston for about 12, 18 months. And then, and I didn't think that the road was the right place for Denny. And we
Yeah.
were touring here, and then we toured some of Superstar. And
Mm.
I've never thought the road was the right place for a kid,
Yeah.
you know. And adults should always be allowed to be adults. And with the child, it's
Yeah.
a bit, you got to sort of navigate. And I don't think when you're working, you should have to navigate. Yeah.
Mm. Did you miss her during that time?
Yeah, I did, of course. You know, and I'd speak to her. That's when phone calls to America cost like $75 a minute. No, I'm only joking.
Yeah,
They were
it still
really-
does. Well, we don't have
not
the
WhatsApp,
internet.
no WhatsApp.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like that's when phone calls were like,
Sure.
and airfares. Whenever I did a New Year contract, because I signed with Harry yearly,
Mm.
he'd say, "What would you like? Would you like money, or would you like a flight? Return flight back home?" I'd always say a return flight because that's when it cost like $24,000.
Wow.
Yeah, to get there and back, man, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But now it's like $1.50 if you can find a good deal.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You
I'm
just
only joking, but yeah, it's cheap now.
go on those deal sites and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden,
Yeah, and things have
Mm.
changed again with flying.
yeah.
Mm.
Wow. So one thing I wanted to ask you was, you had really successful hits,
Mhm.
but your third single didn't chart, right? It came out and didn't chart. How do you take those, successes and
You never know.
lows?
See, so when you do chart, it's like hooray,
Mm.
right? And then you don't chart, you think, oh, okay. It didn't ring. It didn't. It didn't. What would you call? It didn't resonate.
Mm.
So you never know. And did it not resonate because your timing was wrong? Did it not resonate because somebody else is taking that number one spot? You can't be number one forever, Jack.
Yeah.
But you have to sustain what you do have, and that's the trick in what we've been able to do. You have to sustain it, and reinvent oneself.
Mm.
But what? No, you don't sort of pull. I didn't pull the pillow over my head and go boo-hoo.
Mm.
You just have to look at it and think, okay, what can we do? Was the producer wrong? Was the song content wrong? Was my choice wrong? You
Yeah.
got to take some responsibility.
Yeah.
And so, Peter and I always sort of like sit down and talk about what goes right and what goes wrong. And everything you put out can't be right.
No.
No, it's not that kind of body. Yeah.
Yeah. And you never took that personally.
Nah, why?
Yeah.
I had some that did and did very well. No, you don't take it. I mean, I don't think I'm that person. You don't take it personally. It just didn't work, like,
Yeah.
so, okay, here's a parallel. Actors,
Mm.
Academy Award winners,
Yeah.
movies,
Mm.
okay? So they do a movie and maybe the one Academy Award must do your head in, okay? Because you'd expect, because you're an Academy Award winner, even a Grammy winner, that your next thing might be,
Mm.
Somebody described it like ideas that are artistic. It's like you have one and then you try and catch it with the net,
Yeah.
but somebody else catches it before you. And so it's their
Sure.
time to shine. And I think if you shine 24/7, it would be pretty boring. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then you'd fall flat on your ass if you shone for years and years and years, and then you put something out and nothing happened. That would hurt.
Yeah.
Years, and I'm talking like 15 years, 10 years,
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way of looking at things. It's it just happens, and
It's
you just
magic,
gotta,
man.
yeah.
And if I knew what it was, I'd bottle it and sell it. But it's magic, and
Yeah.
I think, you try so hard to make something not a number one, because I've only had a couple and I always think number one's a trouble, because if you don't get another one,
Mm.
that's when you take it personally. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
yeah.
but you just try your best. And when you, as a performer, you're putting your butt on the line, you sort of say, you're so vulnerable, and this is me. And I hope somebody likes it. Maybe they don't, maybe they do. If they do, it's a win-win. If they don't, back to the drawing board.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's art,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Did you ever have pieces of music that you worked on really hard and others that you didn't work on so hard, and then they do really differently and it surprised you?
Strangely enough, that's exactly what happens in a recording studio. You'll hear a song that you really dig and think, I'm going to just knock this one out of the park, right? And you go in the studio, it dies.
Yeah.
Just for some reason, all the stars aren't aligned or whatever happens. Because I don't know what happens still. But when it's right, it's a great feeling. When it's
Yeah.
wrong, it's like, but I love this song. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're so attached to it, right?
You do. And I remember Quincy Jones saying, oh, of course, every songwriter loves their songs because they're their babies.
Yeah.
That's what if you write something, that's a part of you that you're giving to the world.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's that's incredible. So yeah, in the 1970s, obviously great period, but towards the end of the 70s, that's kind of when things started to not
We call it my hiatus.
your hiatus.
Yeah, my hiatus.
Yeah.
Well, what happened, honestly, I was in litigation with the recording company.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Right. Okay. So the interesting thing about being a performer is you go in so open and so trusting as a performer, but like a kid, when your kid looks at you and says, no, for the first time, it's like, what? And so that's what happened to me with my producer. I worked with him for years. And then I started to get a feeling to know who I really was and what I wanted to sing and how I wanted to sing it. And therein laid an incredible discrepancy between both of us. I didn't like what he was trying to make me do.
Yeah.
He didn't like what I was trying to be. And he just said, basically, I made you and I'll destroy you.
Yeah.
And so he stopped me from recording.
Wow.
And, but good. Because Peter said to me, when you got nothing to say nothing. You've been in the public for so long, rest for a bit. And I was in a financial position where I could. I had a roof over my head. I had love in my house. I had my daughter and my mom. And that's all you really need.
Yeah.
And food in my stomach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Did it bother you that that kind of happened?
No, that's good management. And I mean, I know there's a lot to be said about the psychological side of a performer and the manager. And we just talked it through, and he was right, and it was time for me to rest because I hadn't stopped performing since I was 16 to, the late 70s. So it was okay. It was really okay.
Yeah.
And, did I soul search? I'm not a soul searcher. I don't know what I am, but, I'm pretty lighthearted and, humor is a very large part of my life and good friends and, so I was okay, not much soul searching to be done because I knew. And I went to litigation and my QC said, just let him do the fight because he's got more money than you. And most people who got more money, the ones who win, you've still got your voice, you've still got your youth and your talent. It'll pass. And it did. See, it's just so good to have good people around you, and I've been really blessed, Jack, to have good people around me. And my mother said, forget about it. Yeah.
I mean, it's hard also to know who the good people are, right?
Betcha.
Because in this particular instance, it was Wizard Records, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was so instrumental to, some of your biggest
absolutely
pieces, right?
Give credit where credit's due. Yeah.
And so you would have been, he would have been one of the good people for a long time.
For a long time. And then he reared his ugly head, And I mean, like, the thing is, it is what it is, like hindsight, so 2020, so I was always very close to Peter. Peter's been like a brother to me, and so whenever he told me things, I'd listen to what he said. And we had someone who was trying to break me away from Peter, and I wasn't going to have that. You have to be faithful to your friends and family. Yeah.
So, a couple of years later, your brother
passes away.
Yeah. And
that was my first album back in the studio too. That's hard. That was really hard.
Yeah.
Because my mother and I had like this thing happening where she'd never call me. I'd always call her, right? And at that point in time, she had Denny. She had Denny with her.
Well, $70 an hour, $75 a minute is very expensive.
Doesn't matter. In a situation like that, doesn't matter.
Sure.
And so she called me, and I said, first thing I said, what's wrong? Is Denny okay? Of course. She said, yeah, she's fine. She said, but your brother's died. That was like, what? And I cried. And then right in the middle of that album, I was living in London, and I had to fly back to Boston, and he lay in wake for like 5 days, and all that sort of stuff you've got to do for Black funerals are very different to funerals held here. You lay in state, and people come in and have a look at the body and say give you their condolences and such and such. So I did it, I did it. And I said, "Are you coming?" She said, "No, no, no. I buried your father and I buried your grandmother and grandfather. It's time that you grow up, you go." So I did.
Yeah, because losing someone so close to you, because your brother was quite close to you.
Yes, we
wasn't
were
he?
incredibly close, like
Yeah.
twins.
Yeah. And he would have been, because your father died when you were quite young.
Correct.
He would have been
He was a man. He was like, well, I wouldn't give him all the credit. Yeah, but he was definitely the male figure
influence. Yeah.
in our house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ish. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because he committed suicide.
Yes.
And he didn't explain any
No.
reasons why.
No, we don't know why. We
Yeah.
don't. I mean, and the thing is, okay, so a lot of people get angry when people commit suicide. I'm not that person. The one thing you own, Jack, is your life.
Yeah.
And if it gets too hard, do what you need to do. I mean, I'm not condoning it, but it's not mine to take.
Yeah.
It was his to take,
Sure.
And my mother, she dealt with it beautifully, and my brother was the light of her life, it's her son after all, and yeah, so she just said, life goes on. What do you do? And I talk to people quite often about suicide, and you don't know what's in somebody's head.
No.
The unfortunate thing is tomorrow will always be better. But that's me looking at it optimistically. If you're not in that head space, okay?
Yeah.
So I don't judge. Who am I to judge?
No. It's such a, it's such a weird thing because when I was young, I went through real bad depression.
Wow.
And, I thought about taking my life many times. And you're right. You don't know what's going through their head. And the weird thing is when you're down in that sort of the bottom, you really hit bottom.
Down, it's called the spiral.
The spiral,
downward
yeah.
spiral.
You just don't know if there's any hope, right? Because when you're down
You're
there,
not thinking.
You're not thinking.
No.
You're just
can't
letting
even feel. You wouldn't even feel the sunlight on your face.
No.
No.
But it would have been especially difficult for you to have to organize,
Yes.
all the things that.
True.
Yeah.
But I'd seen it done before.
Yeah.
So you just do it, And my mother was on the phone constantly when I was in Boston. And I've got an aunt who's a technician, a laboratory technician in New York. And so she flew across with her daughter and helped me out too. So I had some good people.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy, man.
No, I bet.
It was really, and I got really angry with him, and and then I had to stay in Boston and get rid of all of his stuff. And there was one friend. He had a lot of people turned up to the memorial, but there was one friend in particular, and he looked raggedy. My brother was a sharp dresser, and he was about the same size as my brother. And I said to him, "I want you to come over to Dwight's house, and just come over." And I gave him all of Dwight's clothes. You know what I mean? And I think Dwight would have liked it too. And he was raggedy, and he was consistently at the memorial. He came every day. So I thought, okay, you're a good guy. You know what I mean? Because people say, "Oh, I'll come," blah, 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 and they don't show up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know funerals aren't easy, but they are what they are. You're paying your last respects.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
The thing that would be, if I was placing myself in your position, the thing that would get me is not knowing why he did it.
But it's not my place to know why.
Yeah.
What's that going to do? What's that going to change?
Nothing really. Yeah.
There you go. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I mean, it sounds simplistic, but it truly is. And one of the great lessons I was taught by my mother, had many, but was, Marcia, don't dwell. Okay? When something's done, it's done. I mean, I miss my brother quite a bit, and I talk to him whenever I need to, But, yeah, if I'd known, would that have changed anything? Because I don't think I could have changed his mindset if he was in that place. You know what I mean? And he'd say to me, "What would you know anyway?" Because I'm his sister. What would you know? you know? So yeah, I'm just, like I said, he did it and it's done. And knowing any more than I already do, I don't think it would have hurt or helped, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, when he was in the coffin, which was open, by the way, I did talk to him quite a bit about what he'd done, and I hope he heard me. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. Um, that's incredible to have gone through something like that.
Mm.
Later on, a few years later, you yourself had a bit of a scare, no?
Yeah. With my diabetes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once again, man, I was in the hospital in St. Vincent's Public,
Mm.
and there was this girl who's yellow, like, like the phone book cover.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, gee, what's wrong with you?" And she said to me, "So you're sick?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "You and I could be really sick." This girl was waiting for a kidney.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So that was
wow.
my angel, if you get me. So she came to me, was sharing the room. We just talked, and in the end, she died.
Oh, no.
She didn't get her kidney. But she met me and said, "Oh, I said, "Oh, I'm diabetic." She said, "Yeah, I'm waiting for kidney." We could really be sick, couldn't we?
Mm,
Now, that's an
yeah.
amazing person that I met,
Yeah.
that I came across. You know what I mean? And I got a feeling that there are so many amazing people in the world, and no encounter is by accident.
No.
Everybody's somebody. Everybody's something in your life, I believe. Yeah.
Mm. So what happened when
I got
you
sick.
when you got sick?
I
Because that
yeah.
was in the hospital after you got sick,
After I got
right? Yeah,
sick.
yeah.
So what happened was I had some dental work done, like on a Monday,
Okay.
and on a Tuesday I didn't feel good, on a Wednesday I didn't feel good.
What a
And
bad dentist.
no, he was brilliant. It was me. My body was churning out some stuff. And
Yeah, right.
so I said to my mom, no, my mother said to me, we had a friend who worked in the renal unit. He ran the renal unit of St. Vincent's Hospital. And she called him up and said, "I don't think Marcia's right. I don't know what's wrong." So he came and he said, "Marcia, squeeze my hand." And supposedly I did, like, and he couldn't feel a thing. He said, "We better take you to the hospital, see what's going on."
Wow.
And then I got to emergency, and I remember they said, "Oh, you're a diabetic," after checking my sugars and blah, blah. My mother said, "She's not going to die, is she?" My mother was pretty straight ahead.
Sure.
"She's not dying, is she?" They said, "No, she'll be." Thanks, Ma. I said, her sense of humor once again. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you go to the hospital, they see that you're diabetic, and they teach you to inject insulin into an orange. I'm thinking, damn, I'm not going to do. So to inject, they teach you with an orange. Back in the day, they did it. I don't know what they do now.
Yeah.
And I was a type 1 diabetic, and I still remain that. But no, hey, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay. I was watching TV this morning, and Delta Goodwin was on, and I've known Delta.
Yeah.
And she's just told the general public that something happened to her saliva glands or something.
Yeah. Thyroid? No.
No,
No,
saliva.
gland. Okay, right, right.
And
yeah.
saliva is a large part of us singing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she had
yeah.
to have some sort of a procedure,
Uh-huh.
and she had that, and after it she couldn't sing.
Oh no.
You know what that would be like, Jack? Because I'm always checking the voice. I'm always checking my voice. Sitting in the car. She freaked, and God, I feel for her.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's us.
That's your tool.
That's who we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who. And so you talk to me about diabetes. It's not curable, manageable. But in the end, her voice came back. And she said on the little bit of film I saw, that she just couldn't go out. She was embarrassed because like if you lose your voice as a singer, Jack, I'm not nice to be around. That's when I'm not nice. Okay. So you do everything. You get quiet. You drink tea. A sore throat for a singer is not a good thing.
No.
No, but so God bless Delta.
Yeah.
And for her to share it to the general public, I think it's really important because it shows you how important what we do for a living is.
Yeah.
And how seriously we take it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that would be super. Super hard. That's everything,
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that makes sense in my life. Music and creating music,
Well, what's sort of the feelings that you get or emotions that you get from singing? to make you keep on doing it for such a long time?
It's my passion.
Mm.
And it makes, you know, like there's no drug on earth that can make you feel this good as singing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the endorphin rush. And, you know, walking on stage and preparing a show, you prepare the show, you sit down with the band and you work out, you know, the start, some of the crescendos, the middle, and taking it home, as we call it, you know, finish the show.
Yeah.
That's magic in itself. And to stand on a stage with musicians and know when to start and stop, and
Yeah.
you know, it's just magic, man. There's nothing in the world like it.
Mm.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in front of an audience too, right? And
Sex is good, but it's not as good. Yeah, in front of an audience, and you know, and then you look in the audience, and you'll be singing a heartfelt song, and somebody's crying.
Mm.
And then after the show, you might meet them and they say, that song took me through blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
You realize, you know, you don't take anything into your home or walk over the threshold of your door unless you like it.
Yeah.
So that's how I see music. I only bring music into my life or people into my life or walk across the threshold of my door that I like. And so that's an incredible thing for people to say, I like you that much. You'll become part of my home.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what music is.
Yeah, it really does bring people together.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It's magic, man. I don't care what anybody says. It's a very magical, it's even magical to make it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll be in conversation with you,
Mhm.
maybe not doing this because I'm being together, but I'll be in a conversation in a restaurant and something will come on and I just go somewhere else. I don't even speak, or I might even start singing it, you know, that's how it's just, it calls me. There you go.
Oh, absolutely. It's weird. Music means so. The same song could mean so many different things to so many people, right?
Yeah. Have you seen that great site on the internet that shows you all the wrong words?
No.
I'll send it.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
No, it's it's just one of those
soothing. It's so soothing.
Yeah, you could make you get up and dance, and you can make you cry. You can make you
laugh.
happy, sad, melancholy.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You know, and I mean, it does soothe the savage beast.
Yeah,
you know, it really. Yeah, you know, it's incredible.
Yeah, I just remember when I still had the grounds, we really delved into the for
the sound.
Yeah,
you betcha.
Yeah,
because even in factories, if they have the right music, people will be productive.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. We just remembered that, you know, there's elements of the sensory experience, right? So obviously the visual aspect, the touch, the feeling, the sound is another, and also the smell, right? So, you know, we made sure those four things really were coherent when someone walked into the venue. So you smelt not of bleach, obviously. If you clean the floor.
Correct.
We made sure it smelt good, whether it's, you know, bakery items or whatnot. We made sure everything was amazingly set up, so it looked amazing.
Good.
And the glassware and the plateware and the cutlery and all this stuff were really different. So when you held them, it felt something, right?
That's fantastic.
But the main thing, one of the really important ones was music. So
you bet.
So, you know, we put on classic hits of the 90s and 80s. And actually we did four decades, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Because and we did the chart hitting songs, right? Because whenever a particular song comes up in any particular of those eras, you get reminded of a particular time in your life.
Absolutely, like smells even.
Yeah, totally. Like when you smell like a certain perfume or
or
a
cologne.
Cinnamon. Or cinnamon. Yeah.
Vanilla, yeah.
Ah, speaking of cinnamon, off track now. There's a Portuguese tart place near where I live, and it's just cinnamon, and it's just most amazing thing I've ever eaten.
Yeah.
But getting back to the sensory point of things is that, you know, it brings up so many different memories for so many different people.
Yeah, and your nose has a memory.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So it's sort of And I've got a high. I think it's part of the people that I come from. But I've got this high sense of smell. Someone can walk in the room and I go, "This blah 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 blah."
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, women do have better
Oh, do
palates
we?
than
Yeah.
men in general, and yeah,
Well,
because I think there was more. I can't remember the reason, but yeah, women definitely make better tasters than men.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's one of those senses you just it never leaves you. I don't think.
Yeah.
I've had a friend who had an accident, and his sense of smell and taste went. That must be weird because you eat
Yeah.
to smell and taste.
Yeah. Most of the stuff that you eat is from the nose, right?
Mhm.
And if you can't smell and taste, that would be just
Well, it'd be a bit of a drag. I think you get
ah.
really skinny because you wouldn't care, would you?
No.
I reckon you get real skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No. So yeah, we went off a little bit of
That's
topic, but that's okay. We
Yeah.
love
At
doing.
least you know who we are.
Yeah,
Who we are.
exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
And yeah, so you when you had your hiatus,
Mhm.
you
Stayed home.
stayed home, looked
Hung-
after your daughter.
Yeah, I looked after my daughter, and it was really good because she was going through the teenage years. Anyway, so I was actually home during that, which was
Wow.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it like watching her grow up? Sort of relatively the same age as when you
Totally
came
different
here.
vibe though. I didn't have to be as incredibly protective of her in Australia
Sure.
as my mother had to be of me in America because
Yeah.
the population and blah 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 blah. And yeah, she was as fine as a teenage daughter can be. There you go. Okay, because there were days I thought about going upstairs with a pillow. And then one day I was coming home. We lived in a 3-story building, and I look up in the garden, and this guy's backside's coming out of a window. Fine. So I go to my toolbox downstairs, and I get some nails and a hammer, and I close that window up. That was the way they used to come in and out of her room.
Wow.
Yeah, and you'd never see it because her room was in the front, and the rest of the living was in the back. Big mistake, Jack. Remember I said that with Josephine. Okay. Big
Oh,
mistake.
wow.
Keep an eye.
Yeah.
But I'd get to bring all her friends home because it's important that you know who your child's hanging out with.
Yeah, totally.
So, and then when she got a little bit older, we had a pool.
Mm.
And that's even better. Oh, bring them over, I'd say.
Yeah.
Oh, sure they can swim. Oh, sure they can stop over.
Yeah.
And then you get to see who they're hanging out with.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. You never want to build a relationship with your kid where they can't trust you to bring someone home. And they have to sneak out and do things on the down low.
Well, that's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
Because on the download means you're doing what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. What made you get back after the hiatus?
Well, that's what I do, Jack.
Did you get bored?
Not singing?
Yeah.
No, I always have a piano and guitars and stuff, and
Okay.
I always have musical people around me, and so no. And it was a weird time because I wasn't that mad about the music that I was hearing on the radio, and then this incredible singer started to get some notoriety, and her name was Anita Baker.
Oh,
She
yeah.
did an album called Rapture, and that made me start to think, oh yeah, okay, this is good. And
Yeah.
I mean, once again, I played it for months. If I hear something I like, note this, I'll play it for months.
Yeah.
Not for a week. Yeah, and I would. And luckily, I had a musical household, so
Yeah.
they didn't mind. But yeah,
No, that's great.
you betcha.
Was it nice to be back to performing?
Yeah, it was. And it was double-sided, double-edged,
Yeah.
because Dwight died.
Yeah.
And Take It From the Boys was the first album I'd done
Mm.
since the hiatus. And luckily, Peter found a really good guy called David Mackay in London. And he was responsible for Total Eclipse of the Heart for Bonnie Tyler and some other really big albums. Australian guy, and he was living in Surrey. So I lived in London, which I really liked. London's the bomb.
Yeah.
Yes, man. And I lived above Baker Street Station, which was a great place to live, yeah.
Sure.
And my musical director and I and his partner lived in this great apartment. And so we'd travel from Baker Street to Surrey, or Victoria Station first, and then to Surrey each day. And David had a great work ethic, just 5 days a week, no weekends. Yes. And we started at a certain time, I think maybe 10, to 4,
Mhm.
10 to 4, 10 to 5. And that's good, because back in the day, I'd just go in the studio and stay there until it was done.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't think you get the best out of people then.
Yeah, no, no. When you do something for a prolonged period of time,
Your brain goes dead.
you
Yeah. Your
yeah,
brain
your
goes dead.
performance,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, did it look as an artist?
Mm.
Obviously, we talked about earlier when you first came in. It's very things happen all the time.
Yes.
You've got to travel a
Yes.
lot. You got to just drop and
Go.
right? So, you know, was that difficult on your relationships?
Probably. Yeah, probably. But that's all I know. So, love me, love my dog. That's who I am.
Yeah.
You can't deny somebody if a person goes to work from 9 to 5, that's what they do. If a person goes to work from 6 a.m.
Mm,
to 9, that's what they do.
yeah.
And a lot of traveling. I don't think it's easy being with a performer though, unless you're a performer yourself.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, you've had some past relationships, and every time one of them fails, or I shouldn't say fail, one of them doesn't work out.
Correct. Yeah.
It gets obviously very publicized, and
That's hard. That's hard.
it all gets
But
brought up.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
If I was a normal person who lived, in a country area and it was brought up, it would be hard.
Mm.
But a lot of my life is public, and that's what I do. I try and keep it as
Yeah.
out of the public as much as possible. But, I don't know. People like news about people who are in the industry.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gossip.
It's something,
people
something.
do,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's something for them to do. So it doesn't bother me, but it just, yeah. Who am I going to call? Nobody. Who am I going to complain to? You know what I mean? And it is what I do.
Yeah.
So you have to take the good with the bad. So when I want publicity and I do a photo shoot and it's publicized, right? That's a beautiful thing. You're in a relationship and it's over and it's publicized. That's par for the course.
Yeah. It takes a strong person like yourself to really not let those things get to you, right?
Yeah.
And also
But-
to not let the relationships that kind of didn't work out to then start again. And
Yeah, but I believe in love. I don't believe we should be by ourselves.
no.
I believe, there's someone out there for everyone, and maybe just for a period of time, perhaps. I don't know. If I knew, once again, I'd write a book, okay? But I don't know, because my life hasn't been a normal life.
Mm.
So, and I'm quite aware that it's not normal.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd change it.
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you seem, really content with yourself and really happy with who you are.
Well, that's another COVID thing.
Yeah.
It's important that you are,
Yeah.
It's important that, the person that you wake up to, which is yourself each morning, you love and you say, and it's a blessing to wake up, man. It's just a blessing to be here, to be relatively healthy, to have good people around me, to have a home,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And to have music floating around in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. Yeah.
2003 was a really big year for you in the sense that that's the year Australian Idol
Huge.
launched.
Mm.
And also at the same time, while you were filming Australian Idol, your mother passed away.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
But the greatest thing about Idol was in the beginning, a friend of ours, Brian Walsh, said to Peter and I, there's this great show in America.
Mm.
And if Marcia gets a chance, if they ask Marcia to do it, she should say yes, because it'll introduce her to a totally different audience, a younger audience, and the audience that already know her, and it'd be a great profile for her to have.
Yeah.
So I went to see my mom in the home, because she was in the home in the end, because she had a stroke.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, Ma, I think I might have this gig. She said, oh, you're very good on television. So, you keep all those things in your head,
Yeah.
your parents plant the seed and, and it grows. And that was my affirmation from my mom. So, and then we didn't expect my mother to die.
No.
She was, living in a home that was taking great care of her.
Mm.
And she didn't have a day where she didn't have a visitor, which is great stuff,
Yeah.
So she was really loved and admired. And so she got sick one night, and they called me, and I said, "What do you mean she's sick? I know she's in a home." I said, "No." She dying. They said, "Yes, she is. So
Mm.
you'd better come down." So I was up in Newcastle at the time, and we drove down, and maybe 8 hours later, she died. But my gift, Jack, was she died in my arms.
Mm.
And I was speaking to her, and I thanked her for everything she's ever done to all of us. And that's a
Mm.
gift.
Yeah.
That's it in a circle of life.
Yeah.
And it's not that it wasn't sad, because today I still miss my mom. My mom, she wasn't my best friend, because you can tell your best friend to get stuff. I could never say that to my mother, right? But she was such a strong, such a positive woman.
Yeah.
And and she said to me, when I was a kid, we're walking. I don't know what she was saying. We were walking one day in Boston. I don't know, 8, 9. I was 8, 9. And she said, you see that mountain there, Marcia? I said, yes. She said, if you have faith, you can move that mountain. If you believe in
Wow.
yourself, you can do anything. That's really great affirmations to get from your parents. And as you know, Jack, they stick.
Yeah,
You're
totally.
useless. That's what you become.
Mm.
You're good. That's what you become. Be honest. And the other thing, there are too many things to mention, but do unto others. Just treat people the way you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
Life is sweet, And there are assholes everywhere, Marcia. Just forget about them. So, I had the good, the bad, Yeah. It was very real. My upbringing was very, very real. And, I think the older you get, the more you reflect on your upbringing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's about, but yeah, I couldn't have had a better upbringing. I
Yeah.
just couldn't have. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like she was a real, strong positive influence in your life.
Youngest of 13. She had to be, and she was loved. They didn't expect it. Nobody was expecting a baby. And she says she doesn't remember a time where she wasn't in somebody's arms. And so she had
Wow.
all these brothers and sisters that loved her,
13.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love's powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. I'd love to get a bit of an understanding of what you would like to see for any up and coming artists. What you would love to.
There's one word.
Yeah.
Work. Come on, Jack. Ain't nobody working, man.
Yeah.
And this is what we do. And I was saying to someone, what we do as musicians, performers, entertainers, singers, circus acts, backstage people, whatever, roadies, lighting directors, stage managers, we bring joy.
Yeah.
And there's very little joy at the moment.
Yeah.
We need some joy. So, most importantly, joy that is safe, that we're all in a safe environment to make that joy. And so, fingers crossed, there will be some sort of vaccine or something where we can all cohabitate and hang out again. Because, like you share music.
Yeah.
When you watch it, or, you listen to it with someone who understands, or maybe not. Yeah, just some work would be really nice.
Yeah. It's been
in the normal way.
Yeah.
Let's try and get it back to the normal way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's devastating for the entertainment industry.
You bet it is.
You just
dead in the water, floating.
It's not even, my industry, being in hospitality and restaurants, that's been devastated too.
Yes,
but
it has. But that's where we work too,
Yeah. But at least, cafes and restaurants can do takeaway food and home meals and things like that. It's very hard for an artist to, do a performance with
4 people.
4 people.
It's actually even more nerve-wracking. The smaller the audience.
Yeah.
Oh man, because they're actually sitting and listening.
Yeah, and the eyes are bigger now.
Yeah, they're burning you. They're burning you, but it's all good. I mean, look, this has been such an interesting time because I think people have become more aware of other people, kinda, slightly more patient, and understanding. You know what I mean? And we've worked out we need each other. Human beings need one another.
Yeah.
We really do,
Yeah, we do.
Mm.
No, I'm really amazed at your career and your work ethic and everything that you've done in your life. Because music is as we said earlier, such a powerful I don't know how to call it, powerful tool, powerful.
It's powerful.
It's powerful.
There you go. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I was watching a Netflix special over the weekend with Rob Schneider.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I didn't know Rob Schneider was a stand-up comedian. Secondly, I didn't
Nor
know
did
he was
I.
half Asian. Like he's half.
Schneider, you'd think Jewish.
Yeah. Maybe his father's side,
Okay.
but his mother's, I think, Filipino.
Oh,
Filipino.
wow.
Yeah, so he's half.
I'm going to pull that up.
Right. And his daughter is Elle King.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So that blew my mind, right?
Wow.
And so at the end of his special, he and his daughter had never sung in public, and I didn't know Rob sung either.
Yeah.
And they, did such a beautiful duet
Isn't
together.
that nice?
And just now having had a daughter, to be able to share that, or to be able to do something with her later on, it was such a powerful, beautiful. I don't think there was a dry eye in the house where they were when that happened. But it just reminded me how powerful music was.
Rob Schneider. I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't know either. He blew my mind.
Yeah, I don't know if you know Robert Downey Jr. is an incredible singer.
No, I didn't know that either.
Pull it up with Sting. Ooh,
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, I feel like these people have like hidden talents, and they just go, "Hey."
But my Russell Crowe's an associate, kind of a buddy of mine.
Yeah.
And I think if he had the choice, he'd make music.
Yeah, right.
I just saw his have you seen his new movie?
No.
Oh.
Good?
Oh. Yeah. It's actually quite frightening.
Wow.
It's called Unhinged.
Uh-huh.
You not seen this movie?
No.
You need to see this movie.
Okay.
I spent most of
I'll
it
go
in my
watch it.
partner's chest, but Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, but most musicians, most actors I know have got some sort of a musical thing happening. It's either poetry or an instrument, but a lot of them don't bring it to the general public. But I think you might like Robert. You'll be pleasantly surprised.
I'll definitely go check him out.
With Sting.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah. I love coming across stuff like that, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. When I found out Childish Gambino and Donald Glover was the same person, I was like...
You didn't know that? I love him. Childish.
He's so talented.
Best. He's weird. He looks weird. He used to be on a great TV show I used to watch on Foxtel.
Yeah.
And even his character.
Community?
Yes.
Yeah.
With Steve Martin. Was it Steve Martin? What was that? Not Steve Martin. Chevy Chase or Steve Martin? There's somebody in it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name either. I'm terrible with names.
So,
but yeah.
good. So am I. Hello, how are you? The names, no.
Yeah, I know your coffee order, but I won't know
your name.
Yeah,
dig it. But it's just interesting coming across all this stuff. And there's a great documentary on Quincy Jones. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. I haven't seen a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Quincy was very instrumental in Michael Jackson's stuff. But he was the first black man to ever do soundtracks in Hollywood. He's an incredible conductor, orchestration kind of a dude. Beautiful. Yeah, I just like finding out about people, what they do. And sometimes I'm not into documentaries, but I'm into more the musical side of things, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was really lovely to talk to you, and
ditto.
And really, really happy that you could share some of these wonderful stories.
My pleasure. Jack.
Well, hopefully we'll have you performing out there soon.
That would be nice, Jack. That would be. I look forward to that, Jack.
Yeah, totally.
More than you'll ever know.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I dig it, man. Yeah.